Bopper booper beater.
Who wears short shorts? I wear short.
Extra thick.
Let's talk about Soul Eater. Shalomga. Welcome back, guys, to the only channel on the internet that's been to your mom's house.
Boo! You stink!
Now, I'm just gonna say that despite that beginning, this video will probably not be as comedic as most of my videos, or at least most of my videos right now. It'll be more of kind of just like a little analysis video, basically. It's more like just kind of having fun looking closely and inspecting a show that I like a lot, which is Soul Eater. Now, I am not a professional character designer or anything like that, so this video is not gonna be perfect, and, obviously, it's just kind of like my thoughts and what I think I might have picked up on, and what I think that the character designs might symbolize or mean or whatever. So yeah, this video is basically just having fun sharing my opinions, basically, and I encourage you to share your opinions down in the comments below, and just anything about Soul Eater, really. So I'm just going to go from character to character and tell you guys what I think that the character designs symbolize, and I'm going to order them from my least favorite character designs to my most favorite character designs. And I'm not necessarily talking about how cool the design is. I mean, that is a factor, but my most important topic is the meaning, the symbolism, and how well it was executed. Also, there will be spoilers, so if you want to go watch the anime, now is the time to do it. Stop the video and go watch the anime, or read the manga. I don't know. I haven't read the manga. I've only watched the anime. But yeah, if you either one, really. Read the manga, watch the anime, whatever. Who cares? It's up to you. Go do it now. Bye. See you later. Pause this video. Keep it open. Actually, go binge it, or watch it, or read it, whatever. And then come back and watch this video. Alright, so the first character that I'm going to go through, and I think is the least interesting character design in the show, is Erica. Now, don't get me wrong, I still do think her outfit is cool, but I personally am not sure what any of the symbolism or meaning is behind it, if there is any. She Frey?
Don't worry, Flippy's here.
I don't know. If you do, please leave it down in the comments. I am genuinely curious. So, next would be Yumi Azusa. I'm probably gonna butcher. I'm gonna probably butcher a lot of the names on this list, because obviously they are Japanese names, so, and I think that I definitely probably butchered that name, so just keep that in mind if I butcher a name. I'm not Japanese.
My Ancestry.com page tells me I'm 90% Japanese.
I don't think that Yumi is very interesting. Like, they do get her personality across with her being very formal and giving off the vibe that she's smart. I don't know, it's just, that's all I really get. And I don't know, I don't really like the design. Excalibur is another, I'm not sure what I could even say about. Like, his design gives off the vibe that he'll be very formal and be very goofy as well, which is pretty obvious when he has 1,000 prerequisites you must agree to, just to wield him. Other than that, though, I'm not really sure what to say about his design. It's alright. Mizune is also a pretty non-character design. Like, I'm not sure what to say about it. So, why does she beat everyone else that's lower than her? Well, one reason. She turns into a hot mama boy! I love how the little demon comes off as very fancy and formal, also having some ulterior motives. Just generally being not good. Like, you get the vibe that he is no bueno. He is no bueno ese, compadre. Mexicano, the Scubalambo. I'm still speaking Mexican, I promise. I'm a Mexicano. I am not Japanese, but I'm Mexicano. That is literally him in a nutshell, though. I mean, he's trying to get the main characters to embrace madness, and I love how they encapsulated all that in one design. I think that Joe Budataki's design is spot on as well. It screams that he is a chill and relaxed guy. For the most part, he is too, unless he ain't got his coffee.
Today we're going to be going over 5 Fortnite YouTubers who've sworn. Do you want some free V-Bucks?
Uh-oh.
Well, we're gonna be
I'm all out.
$25
Oh, no.
of V-Bucks.
Oh shit, boy, I gotta get some, boy.
History tells us he died at the alley. But it's not the case.
Well, I believe it is legitimate, sir. Me and my family have thought for generations that it is. We'd like to get to the truth.
That's some good clay. Jericho gives off the vibe of being a punk with his hairdo and earrings. But what I really like about his design is his gloves and chainsaw. I think the gloves represent that he isn't afraid to get his hands dirty, metaphorically, that is. And I think that the chainsaw is representative of his brash and abrasive personality. I think that you can understand who Liz and Patty are immediately when you see them standing next to each other. Liz is the more serious and reserved one, while Patty is the goofier one. Their hair and hats, to me, are a pretty good example of this, as Patty has shorter hair and a smaller hat, which I think represents how she is the younger and more immature one. Arachne, I think, has a really good design, because it kind of comes off a bit sexualized, but that's because it is intentional, as she sometimes, not a whole lot, but sometimes she uses her sex appeal to get what she wants. She also obviously looks spider-like with her clothes and such, but I think she also does look pretty conniving and mischievous. I think Spirit Alburn, when you first meet him, comes off as someone who takes things seriously, but it doesn't take him long to break that perception. I think that he wants you to think that he is serious. I also really like that his tie is a cross, and at the top of his suit is 2 more mini crosses. I think this represents that he is truly a good guy, even if he might have messed up in the past, and that he is willing to protect and support his loved ones, especially Maka, at all costs. I'm just gonna say it now. I love how Sid Barrett has a Z on his tank top, basically obviously representing zombie. It's just I think that it's funny, but I think that is the joke and it's hilarious. I think he definitely screams that he is a tough guy, and he comes off as that one gym teacher that's tough as hell and very disciplinary, which I think the disciplinary side of him is much more obvious when he puts on his military vest before battle. I really like Lord Death's design too, because his design is very mysterious. I mean, not only do we not know what he looks like, but he even wears a mask. This even plays into the plot as Kid Death starts to doubt whether his dad is really doing the right thing for the school. I also don't think I need to mention that him looking goofy reflects how he is goofy. Masamune, I think, gives you the feel that he has a lot of hatred stirring around inside him with just one look, especially when comparing his past self to his present self. His eyes look much more sunken and dull in the present, as an example. It is kind of funny how a lot of these characters have some kind of symbolism behind something they wear, but I don't really see any huge meaning behind what he wears. I think Ashura, wearing pretty clean and fancy clothes, then having rags on his head, intentionally contrast with each other, because he is made with fear. So one moment he might be calm and collected, and the next he could be maniacal and sporadic. Not to mention all the eyes on his body, which I think represents his fear, and how he can watch 360 degrees around himself with all the eyes he has. Medusa Gorgon is definitely shown as a despicable person, and I love how when you look close enough at the hoodie she is wearing, it actually looks like a snake. Her looking like a snake and using snakes in battle is obviously symbolism that she is very deceitful. Or, as the saying goes, she is a snake in the grass. Justin Law pulls it off better than Baby Driver, and Baby Driver came after Soul Eater.
Hereby sentence the defendant to 25 years in the federal penitentiary, subject to a parole hearing after 5 years served.
Yo, that shit was fucking hilarious, bro.
I think Maka Alburn wearing a school uniform is symbolism for how she is very studious, and she is always striving to be the model student. I also think her ponytails represent her cheerful and confident side. Tsubaki Nakatsukasa. Tsubaki Nakatsukasa. Tsubaki. I told you I'd butcher them.
How could this happen to me? I made my mistakes, got nowhere to run. Hey now, you're an all-star, get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star, get the show on, get along, get.
Tsubaki is shown to be caring and gentle through just her face alone, and her scarf is there to symbolize how she hides her feelings of self-doubt and low self-esteem. I think her star on her chest might take on a double meaning though, as I think it symbolizes that Black Star has a huge place in her heart, but I also think it symbolizes that she can sometimes be just as determined as Black Star. I think that Soul Eater wearing not only a jacket and jeans, but also having his hands in his pockets a lot of the time, represent that he is a very laid-back and carefree individual. I think that the smirk he has on his face a lot of the time also represents his cool attitude. I mean, to add on to this cool attitude, I think the reason his name is on his headband is to say, yeah, that's right, I'm the Soul. Let's just start with the obvious. Black Star has a star on his shoulder because of the Star Clan. Now, I do think this takes on a double meaning, though, too, as Black Star has claimed many times throughout the show that he is the Star, and literally states multiple times that he will surpass God in power. Not to mention that the Star Clan is actually a big part of his growth throughout the story, so it has two really strong meanings. I think his outfit and spiky hair also gives off the vibes of being cocky and rough around the edges. Now, with Death the Kid, it is pretty obvious that the reason his clothes are symmetrical is because of how he needs things to be neat and symmetrical. Well, I mean, except for when the animators done goofed and put a regular asymmetrical shirt on him.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
One of the most interesting things, though, is his hair, as it is the complete opposite. It is very asymmetrical. These lines seem to have huge symbolism behind them, though, as the lines represent someone passing into the world of the dead. There are three paths, one that goes to a river of snakes, which is for the bad boys, and one that goes to a bridge, which is for the good boys, and the last one is a shallows that you have to cross, which is for the people in the middle. Not necessarily bad, but not necessarily good either. Oh yeah, and when the Sanzu lines connect, if the one that connected them is the next heir as a death god, then the previous death god is supposed to die. He is supposed to die. It's kind of interesting that they actually did kill Death in the manga when Kid connected the lines, but didn't in the anime. Although both of them cracked the mask, which is supposed to happen as well when the lines start to connect. The lore actually says that it's basically the Death God becoming their own individual, so it's actually kind of like representation for growing up. Knowing all that lore now and putting it into context, I think this scene and this character design make a lot more sense, because although Kid was very serious and sophisticated, he also was defeated by just seeing something that was asymmetrical, unless the asymmetrical thing was the main bad guy. I don't think it's symbolizing that he doesn't care about symmetry anymore, but rather he has matured and has learned that symmetry is not everything, and there are more important things than it. I mean, he literally never brings up symmetry during the final battle, and I sure can tell you that there are many asymmetrical things in the battlefield. Alright, so now we are down to my top 3 favorite Soul Eater designs. And basically 2 of these are actually the main inspirations for this video, because I started thinking about it and when I was thinking about it, I was like, that's a really cool design, and it really is, it's amazing at reflecting their personality and their backstory and all that other stuff, and all their, and the
You shut up when I'm talking to you!
They were good at representing growth and the story and all that they went through throughout the story. And number 3 was one of those inspiration, which was Stein. His whole arc throughout the show is him slowly going insane and trying to push back the madness until he can't anymore. The screw in his head symbolizes that his mind is very screwed up.
Boom!
And the stitches all around his body symbolize that his sanity is in stitches. One little snip and the stitches come undone, and his sanity is lost. I like how the stitches also take on a double meaning, as they also represent that he is a mad scientist, or at least an almost mad scientist. You can't have Stein without Mary Mjolnir, though, who looks kinda like she is from Asgard or something. And why do I bring that up exactly? Well, as previously mentioned, her last name is Mjolnir, which is also Thor's hammer. I think this is really fitting and cool because, although I don't know any of the lore of Thor, as far as I know, Thor and Mjolnir have a strong bond. I mean, you can only pick up Mjolnir if you are deemed worthy by it. So there's definitely a connection between the two. This is pretty important because not only is she a weapon, but Stein is a Meister, who, as previously mentioned, goes insane. She tries to pull him back out of the madness and actually succeeds. In fact, before Medusa poisoned her drink to make Stein go insane quicker, she was actually helping hold back the madness, which shows how strong of a connection her and Stein have. Point being, just like Thor and Mjolnir, Mary and Stein have a very strong connection. You could possibly even say that they have an even better connection, just because they can actually talk to each other in person, and there seems to be possible romantic tension between the two. But that's debatable. I mean, I'm pretty darn sure that there's not any romantic tension between Thor and Mjolnir. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, God, no, stop. I've been really trying. There's also that she looks a lot like Thor's hammer in her weapon form. Alright, so, finally, my favorite design in Soul Eater. This is the one that actually sparked my interest in this subject, just because I thought that the design was just so amazing. I just thought it was so well executed, along with being, like, amazing with the symbolism and the meaning. And I think, like, a lot of these designs are amazing with the meaning and symbolism and getting across what the personalities are. I just think this one is definitely my favorite. The person I am talking about is none other than Chrono. No, the person... my favorite design, and I mispronounced the name. My favorite design, obviously, is Chrono. Now, I already know what you're saying. What's so special about a guy in a dress? What are you, gay? And I would respond with,
oh, you touch my tra-la-la. My ding-ding-dong.
but there's also more depth to this character design. Now obviously how Cronus stands and his posture definitely signify that he is an anxious person. What I find the most interesting is the previously mentioned dress and girl-like hair though. Now, I do know that anime does sometimes have the tendency to make a guy look like a girl by accident, so at first I just thought it was one of those moments. But when you start to think about it more, it becomes much, much darker. Before we delve deeper, I know that the manga creator has stated that Krona is genderless, but in the anime everyone calls Krona a he, and I'm strictly talking the anime. And I also saw people refute this by saying, "Ooh, they call him a he because they don't know the gender. You don't know gender, there is no English pronoun for genderless man or woman, or it's genderless, so they are not man or woman, they are just person." While you are right that there is no English pronoun for someone who doesn't have a gender, while you are right that there is no pronoun in English for someone who is genderless, I don't see why Krona would not respond after being called a he with, excuse me, by the way, I'm a she, you ignorant baboon.
Oh, these are pretty cool bananas.
Alternatively, they probably would have asked him what gender he was if they didn't know. I don't think that if you have a friend that you don't know the gender of, you would just start calling him he or she, or them, he or she. I think you would probably just ask what gender they were. Plus, Krona being a guy makes the story, I think, much stronger and layered than it already was. Anyways, back to the theory about why I think Krona looks like a girl. At first, I thought that maybe on top of the terrible upbringing, he was also gay or identified as a girl. And that would be part of the reason as to why he's so anxious. When I really delved deep into it though, I came to a much darker conclusion that I think makes a lot of sense actually. I think, with how messed up Medusa was, and how much trauma and mental abuse she put him through, part of the reason she treated him so terribly is because of the fact that he is a boy. I think Medusa wanted a girl. I mean, think about it. All the witches shown in the show are all girls. There is not a single witch guy, or I guess they would be called warlocks, but still, there are no warlocks. Then, think about how excited she is to get a witch and wreak chaos with, only to be met with a boy. I think that Medusa treated him like a girl because she wanted a girl, not a useless boy. And so she started to dress him up in dresses and make him look like a girl. Who knows, maybe she even tortured him about being a boy for a while, until eventually she came up with the idea of making her own witch out of him, or the closest she would get to one, a Kishin. I think if this theory were to be true, it would, as previously mentioned, add an even bigger layer of depth to Krona. I know people will still fight in the comments about his gender is ambiguous. His gender is ambiguous in the manga, and so I should not say that he is a he. This is the reason why I still would say he is a he though, is because I think it adds to the story. Whereas if he was a she, I don't really think it would add anything to the story. Either way, I know you still dispute me, so just frick off, you frickin' frick. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Soul Eater designs. So yeah, is there anything I missed, or is there anything that you think I was totally dumb retardo on in terms of the designs? Any of the meanings you're like, no, that doesn't make any sense, that's a fucking gay? That ain't what it means, you fucking idiot, you libtard. Well then just let me down and let me know down in the down. Let me know down in the down. Also known as the down. I might even make a follow-up video talking about the comments or something or anything new I came up with. I mean, I am taking a I am taking a character design class soon, so I might find something interesting that I previously didn't really think about with all these Soul Eater character designs. And who knows, Corona might even be dethroned as my favorite design. Hint, hint, I doubt that. So yeah, if I make a follow-up video, oh yeah, and you all gotta tell me if you guys are excited for Wario Wolf 5: The Return of Shadow Wario, cause boy, that shit looks so good.